Excuse me. In the meantime, can we try with the Jordanian speaker if he can share his screen?
Yes, sure. Mr. Ahmed, would you like to try your microphone?
Okay, let me try. Hi all, how are you?
Hello, Mr. I'm going to be the moderator for this session. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and joining us for this webinar.
Most welcome. I'm glad to be with you also.
Great, we can see your screen.
Excellent.
I'm going to activate my camera to see if it. Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
Are we going to use the cameras or the voice only?
We made it to share both the screen and the camera if you're comfortable, of course.
Yes, but I'm afraid the internet will be overloaded, the stream will be high, but let's try it.
Yeah, okay, sure.
If so, we can start.
Never suits you.
Yeah, okay.
Guys, can you check your page if it's live?
Actually, only JPSA is live right now.
ASEPA is live too. We can start, I think.
Yeah, can we start? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay, then. Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're officially live on the Facebook page. Welcome everyone, and thank you all for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Dua, the co-coordinator of the Industrial Skills event, and I'm going to be the moderator of this session. Today, our event is back with another webinar, and we are presenting the principles of the pharmaceutical market access in Jordan and Algeria. As you can tell from the title, we've got new guests, the Jordanian friends, as the event is in a collaboration with the Jordan Pharmaceutical Student Association. And for all of our Jordan friends who don't know what ASEPA is, our contact person, Abir Bedaida, is going to present our association. Abir, are you among us?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Abir Bedaida, contact person of ASEPA Algeria. I would like to start by thanking you all for allowing me to present ASEPA, and let's get right into it. So ASEPA is a scientific association of pharmacy students from the faculty of Algiers, with over 600 active members and more than 60 major events each year. ASEPA has had the honor of cooperating with more than 100 partners in the pharmaceutical and medical fields. Just like today, we are very happy to collaborate with JPSA Jordan, that I welcome to this webinar, by the way. So ASEPA works to promote public health, but not only that, our members' professional development is also very important, and a PD portfolio is dedicated to provide them with a set of activities that aim to create a platform for exchange between young students and the great minds of business leaders and entrepreneurs. Today is the Industrial Skills event. A series of webinars have already been organized in the past months with the quality control, quality assurance themes, the regulatory affairs themes, and today it will be the market access theme. So I'm going to let you guys do it. I hope you enjoyed this session, and thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Abir, for this presentation. Now, to everyone who don't know JPSA, Sarah Abul Arab, the PD chairperson of the JPSA, is going to present their association. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can perfectly hear you.
Okay. So my name is Sarah Aburub. I'm the chairperson of profession development with the Jordan Pharmaceutical Students Association. Basically, JPSA is a non-political, non-profit, and non-religious organization that was founded in Jordan in 2007. And we are also affiliated, just like ASEPA, to the International Pharmaceutical Students Federation. We have the main mission to inspire and prepare pharmacy students to become productive members in their society and improve the health awareness in Jordan, and with a long-term vision to create passionate, well-oriented, and skilled pharmacy students who can leave their everlasting impact on public health and pharmacy profession. So JPSA is composed of many teams, such as public health, humanitarian, profession development, and the PD team is joining you today. And in PD, we try to focus on developing the pharmacy students' soft skills, in addition to developing their understanding of their profession and how they can join the market with the perfect skills in order to succeed and further improve their communities. Can I move on to introducing our company that will be hosting our speaker, Mr. Ahmed, which is MS Pharma.
Yes, exactly. Now, before we introduce to you our speaker, let us watch the presentation of the MS Pharma in Jordan, where our Jordanian speaker works at.
So MS Pharma is one of the biggest and most leading pharmaceutical companies in Jordan and also in the Middle East. And I'm sharing with you a brief video for them because our speaker, Mr. Ahmed Nazal, is joining from MS Pharma. So can you see my screen?
We can see it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Great. So that was the presentation of MS Pharma in Jordan, where our first speaker, Mr. Nazal Ahmed, works at. We're going to present the first speaker. So, Mr. Nazal, are you among us? I remind you that Mr. Nazal is the manager of the market access in MS Pharma. Are you among us, Mr. Nazal? I think he's having...
Hello.
Yeah, perfect. Hello.
Can you
Hello,
hear me?
Doctor. Thank you for joining us and accepting our invitation. It's such a pleasure having you among us.
Thank you very much. Can you see my screen?
For now, no. I'll take off this presentation. Yeah, we can see right now.
Excellent. So you hear me, you see my screen. So
yeah,
now
perfect.
I can be comfortable. Thank you.
Where is yours?
That was great to hear your activities as ASEPA and as JPSA. Actually, I have been graduated in 1996. I had the opportunity to be introduced to the pharma industry, such as you're doing now with the pharmacy college students. That was great. I really liked your initiative and your activities towards our future colleagues in the industry. And also, I think I'm going to have interesting topic to share with you, because market access is somehow a recent specialty in the industry. I believe it has been created by the pharma industry. So it will be interesting to have this chat with you and to introduce what is market access and why it's there. And let me share with you the content of my speak today. I will go with the definition of market access in the pharma industry. Also, I will share with you the mission statement of Market Access Department in MS Pharma. Also, what are the objectives of such department? What is the scope of work, and where is the reach of market access in the field? Market access and value proposition, value recognition, market access and launch planning, and at the end we will talk about pricing.
Thank you, Doctor, for sharing with us your content. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. To all of our Zoom participants, please keep your mics off during the entire presentation. And in case you get any questions, you can always submit them in the chat box for the Zoom participants or on the comment section for the Facebook Live attendees. And we'll make sure to bring them up during the Q&A session. Mr. Nazal, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Okay, let's start with definition. What is market access? In fact, market access is a complex process that pharma companies have to go through in order to make their products in the market sellable. I mean, they can be sold, they can be prescribed. Why? Because in the patient journey, there are a lot of steps. He will see a doctor. There is a department or authority which are responsible to pay against his treatment. There is a regulatory body which is responsible to approve or decline the product. In our region, also the authorities are responsible to do pricing for the products. So each of these functions, in fact, needs a lot of work by market access to secure benefit to both sides, the patient and the company who manufactures the product. In market access world, you will hear phrases such as pricing. You will hear phrases like reimbursement. You will hear here phrases like health economics, outcome research, the payer or the reimbursement body, cost effectiveness, and these are also few examples of what you may be exposed during your work in market access. Also, in order to have the products reimbursed, which is very critical step in countries where population enjoy some kind of health insurance, pharma companies have to work very hard to gather a lot of data, even to do some clinical studies or cost-effective studies or pharmacoeconomic studies, so that we can convince the authorities, the payers, the reimbursement bodies that our product is cost-effective. It's better than the standard of care. Nowadays, the definition of market access expanded to include all types of obstacles that face the drug from its creation or when it has been an idea until it reaches the patient. So our activities or our responsibilities not only external, it's also internal inside our company. I mean, with regulatory department, with the production department, with the business development department, because we are seeking a single objective. The product has to be available to the patient in the market. Okay, let me show you in MS Pharma what is the mission statement of Market Access Department. Most of elements in my definition in a way included in this mission statement. So our mission statement is to deliver fast, wide, sustainable patient access through colleagues with unique skills and experiences in different disciplines. This includes policy, includes pricing, includes health economies, epidemiology, marketing, medical access evidence. Also, we have to find always innovative and holistic solution to enable us overcome all problems that are faced during the product journey when it has been an idea until it is finished product available for sale for the patient. Market access nowadays is a very critical function in the pharma industry. Why? Because sales will not happen simply if we didn't secure approval for reimbursement. Also, the treatment guidelines for the patients or for medical doctors always refer to local or international guidelines in their treatment protocols. So unless we put our product in these clinical guidelines, also we will have minimal opportunity to do sales. So this is one of the functions which market access has to achieve. Secondly, we identify and address the root causes of access hurdles, which mandate deep understanding of healthcare system. Sometimes we will be faced with really unique obstacles and hurdles, which has been happening for the first time, or hard to relate it to specific department inside the company. So when there is a market access in the company, since its responsibility is to resolve all these problems, they will take care of all these surprising obstacles. The market access team and other functions, okay, I'm going to let you know here that every person in the company, in a way, has to do a market access activity, not only the market access department itself. So regulatory they will give us hand and a big hands in market access. Our senior management has to give us a hand in the market access function. Sales and marketing department has to give us hand in market access. So market access is not a function which employees who are under its umbrella, the only ones who work it. Every person in the company will have, in a way, a function of market access nature. So when you have a market access department, it will have a series of objectives. Affordability. I mean, the product should be affordable to the patient, to the payer, and also feasible to the company which produces it. So to do this equation, market access is the responsible department. You have to do what's called value recognition. So when you have a product, you have to reflect its value and make it recognizable to the all stakeholders, either physician, or payer, either patient, or their families, or the society, and even the stakeholders inside your company. So they should know what's the value of this new launch. For example, they will work harder, they will take care of it. So it's market access function to do this value recognition. Capacity. The journey is long from the product when it has been an idea until it's ready for sale in the market. This long journey needs capacity. So you have to be an experienced person in different aspects along this journey. You as a market access manager or a market access officer in the company, your tasks is not ended after you put the product successfully in the market. You need also to make sure of the outcome certainty. So the product is being prescribed and the product is reaching to the targeted group of patients successfully. So all these efforts, you will wait until you see that your results happened and give the results successfully, so that you make sure that all of these efforts were fruitful. Okay, what's the scope of work for the market access manager or the market access person? First of all, he has external stakeholders like regulatory authorities. They will need, for example, some evidences of clinical nature or pharmacoeconomic nature. You have to design, to present, and to propose successfully these results to the regulatory authorities. In many countries and in many diseases, you are going to have what's called patients representative. They are some kind of societies to take care of patients suffering from certain disease. You have to deal with, they will support you to make your product available for these patients who needs it. Also, you have to work with the payers, reimbursement bodies, like in social security, for example, programs, or insurance companies, or governmental health insurance, etc. Whoever pays for the patient. Also, you have to work with the policymakers and with the academia, which is university hospitals or societies which issue treatment guidelines. Okay, how market access help clients? Actually, all of these external stakeholders mentioned in my previous slide, our activities and efforts really is very fruitful for them. So you will make the authorities understand the value and the cost effectiveness of your offering. You will make academia to evaluate properly the benefits of your product and how much it deserves to be there in the guidelines. You will also help patients to make the product available for them and paid for. You will help physicians or expertise to make use and understand well your product. So in fact, we are offering great benefits to the all external stakeholders involved in the access of the product to the patient. This is an example of activities done with each of these stakeholders. For example, for regulatory authorities, our objective is to get the marketing authorization and to get the price. What we do with them, real world evidence, with whom we deal with the regulators there. Drug safety also is represented in our offering of the products to the regulatory and also the medical affairs there. With payers also, our objective is pricing and reimbursement. The activities done with them is cost effectiveness data, and in many times they are depending on studies and clinical trials. Medications, we use what's called value-based pricing. So the price of the product, which is paid by the payer, depends on the extent of the earned value to the patient. So the model of pricing, we will mention it in the pricing section. However, it's usually used with the multinational firms who deal with rare diseases. Healthcare providers like physicians, hospitals, we need our products to be adopted and utilized. We deal with KOLs. KOLs stands for key opinion leaders. They are the professors, for example, the doctors who has been in the medical department in the institution for tens of years. So these influencers have a special treatment from market access department. Also, we look for physician advocacy and budget impact data. For the patients and patient advocacy, we do disease awareness and patient adherence program to highlight these results will happen only upon adhering properly to the prescription guidelines. So we do campaigns, we do detailed activities either online or face-to-face, and also we do value-added product features to deliver. Sometimes we give devices which needs to be in the administration of the drug. So we offer this added value to the patients to make sure they are using our products. The other scope of the market access activity is the internal. So we deal with all departments inside the company, like registration, the R&D, sales and marketing, production, logistic and shipping, and also pricing and reimbursement. Add to this the senior management to secure approvals of many of the activities which has some kind of risk. A critical point in our activities is to do what's called support the value proposition of the product. Value proposition simply means how you translate the benefits of your product into value to the audience, wherever he was. Either he was a payer, he was a regulatory authority, he was a patient, or he was a physician, treating physician. So you need to formulate a message which reflects a value for your product, and in a way it should be unique, because you don't want to look as simply me too product for previous one in the market. So when we formulate value, there are gains and there are losses. There are gains, you are talking about financial benefits when your product is being prescribed, and the audience will feel it has a meaningful advantages for him. Also, you have to reflect points of differentiation in your product. So in the physician or in the payer, your audience was, you simply tell him why it's better for him, why it's better to adopt your product or to register your product or to pay against your product. Also, you have to demonstrate these differentiation points, and this will answer an important question, why he should believe your claims. So you need to have evidence like strong clinical data or trial reports, etc. Now, in this balance for the stakeholder, you may suffer for some losses of clinical trial or the cost of sponsoring events to educate physicians or the cost of registration. Also, your efforts, which takes a lot of time and tasks, hard tasks. So you are risking all of this seeking approval or belief on what you are offering. Also, there are some risks because in particular, when you do some clinical trials, you cannot guarantee nothing will go wrong and hurt you. So these are possible losses or pains while you are trying to do evidence on the value proposition of your new product. Now, your value proposition should be in this area marked with green. It is unique in what your brand does well, while your competitor cannot do, and your customer really wants. So this area should be. Of course, if you did it here or here or here, you will have negative implication and your value proposition will not be fruitful. So all the time, put your expenses, your efforts, your design of clinical trials, for example, to reflect a value proposition for your brand, which is somehow away of your competitors and really what your customer is needing or looking for. Let me share with you an example of value messages and for stakeholders. So if my audience is the patient, then the value proposition for the product will be, for example, it will increase length of life over first 9 months of treatment versus normal care or the standard of care, which is the product currently being prescribed. For the physician, we have to reformulate it. So we will say it will improve cognition and neurological function from day 28. So the physician basically looking for something different. He wants to see improvement. He wants to see positive results. While the regulatory authority for the same product, again, it will provide a statistically significant, clinically relevant reduction at 28-day all-cause mortality and an acceptable risk-benefit profile versus standard of care. So for the authority, you are focusing that it is better than the current medication given. So this means they need to give you approval for registration. Now for the payer or the reimbursement authorities, you are providing cost-effective benefits and on cost per life year gain and or cost per quality adjusted life year. So the payer is looking for cost effectiveness or looking to pay more against, pay less for better outcomes or avoid for example, unnecessary expenses due to side effects or whatsoever. So these are 4 value messages for the same product, depending on different audience or stakeholders we are talking to. Now, I will take you more deeply with value proposition for the regulators and payers. There are different and there are different ways to payer to value your product, and we have to demonstrate our value in different ways. Different authorities use different ways. Australia, Canada, UK, each one uses different quantification for the products submitted for them to reflect is it valuable to be reimbursed or not. For example, one of common ways which is being used in Germany and France is term called QALY. I will, in the next 2 slides, I will explain more about what is QALY and how we make it. And this QALY is used in France and Germany, also is being used differently in other countries. So what is QALY and how we calculate it? QALY stands for Quality Adjusted Life Year, QALY. The QALY commonly used in health economics to evaluate and quantify the health effect of a new product or existing product which is under study. And it will help payers to allocate resources based on the quantification we are using in this study. How it is calculated? It is calculated as this. 1 QALY means 1 year with perfect health, while 0 QALY means the patient is dead. So in between 0 and 1 is the other stages which can be reflected in two-dimensional. So it is 1 year dimension and utility. So 1 year dimension, 1 year with one full utility. So the patient is in perfect health. This means 1 QALY. To explain it in another way, if the patient had perfect health only for half year, this means his record is 0.5 QALY. Vice versa, if the patient lives half good or half perfect health, but for 1 year also, this means 0.5 QALY. So in cost-effective studies, they calculate how many QALYs this new product has produced versus the current standard of care. So it's a way to quantify the benefits of your product, new product, to the payer, so that you prove to him you deserve to be reimbursed. Okay, merging market access with launch planning. One of the very important aspects in market access is dealing with new launches. And maybe during my presentation, you heard a lot of launching new product. The product is under development. The product was an idea. So most of our activities in the phase of launching, because after that the product is got reimbursed and is got used, and you all, maybe you will have some kind of efforts to maintain the supply, sustainable supply to the market. While for the new products and the products under launch, it is the full game here. So while you are doing launch planning, you will look for reimbursement, you will look for pricing, you will look for production of the products for the first time at your manufacturing site. Also the approval at the regulatory body. So you are dealing with the external stakeholders extensively, and also it will be great to have also internal launch activities so that everyone understands the value of your product. What you see in green here is the activities which usually the market access perform in the launch phase of the product versus regulatory and sales marketing activities. So you can see most of the steps in the launch preparation is under control or under responsibility of market access. So this is typical for a product, a new product in one of European countries. However, it will not differ a lot either in Algeria or in Jordan or in Saudi Arabia, etc. More or less, you will see very common steps. Launch plan and market access, they should go hand in hand because simply they are almost the same. R&D, commercial, top management team, all of them, they should acknowledge the importance of the payer stakeholders for successful launch of the product. This will need them, particularly the senior management, to put some resources at risk while developing the clinical evidence and the pharmacoeconomic studies. All of these activities are being done pre-launch. So these are example of what type of support market access should get from other departments during the pre-launch activities. Also, market access will deal with in the same importance level with epidemiology, with market analysis, with quantifying market size, and the value portfolio projects. All of these important studies while you are developing a new product, you should take care of the market access is being understood well. So you will not end up with producing a unique product which cannot be reimbursed, or a unique product which cannot be registered, or a unique product which cannot be paid for because it has been priced with unlogical access to the patient. Okay, let's now go to the pricing. Usually we price pharmaceuticals with what's called value-based pricing. There are different models of doing pricing in different industries. Some industries work on cost plus, for example. So they calculate their cost and add certain percentage and put the product in the market. Usually in pharma industry, we don't do that. We do what's called value-based pricing. So you price your product on how much value you are giving to the physician and the patient. So this is being challenged usually with the regulatory authorities, and they always ask for evidence of this value, and also ask to provide what's called cost effective. So when you get a price for your new product, you have to be cost effective, which means either efficacy justifies the extra cost, or safety justifies the extra cost, or the treatment cost, the overall treatment cost is justifiable versus the current standard of care. By this, you are providing the authorities the capability to approve or decline your requested price. But at the end, you have to play it in both sides to give fair price to your company on the efforts being done on to cover the cost of R&D, the cost of clinical trials you did, the cost of sales and marketing you will pay to promote the product, and on the other hand, fair and cost-effective price for the patient, the physician, and the payer. In many cases, and maybe you have experienced this with multinational products introduced in the market, the product is being proposed with high price, and the patients get the product at the first stage with price higher than later stages. You check the market reaction. If the product is being adopted by most of the physician, and most of the patients needs this product is taking it, then this is great. If not, you need to do some trade-off, which means you sacrifice some of the benefits or the margin you are getting from your price to increase the number of patients being treated. And this will continue throughout the product life cycle in the market. So pricing and market access strategy will continue along the product life cycle. Usually, this is being observed well in products under patent. They enjoy high value, high price in the period where their product is patented. Then they may go a little bit down so that they increase their patient rule, or they prepare for a next generation product so they don't lose all the patients. So they have both options. Patients who are seeking with low price medication will take the old drug. And for patients who are seeking for the value which is offered by the new product, they will pay again the high value. So this process is continuous throughout the product life cycle. Also, there is innovative pricing solutions is being done, like linking the price charged with the volume in the agreement, or against the value getting gained by the patient, or personalized reimbursement, or bundling service, or adding value to the product, like offering some devices which is being used by the patient in the dosing or in getting the dose of the products. Also, it is challenging nowadays in the pharma industry that there is some kind of collaboration internationally towards getting similar pricing in everywhere, and it's very hard to get hypes as the pharma industry used to get. So these are new threats facing pharma industry, and this do a lot of pressure on their ability to invest more in R&D and to get fair pricing for the efforts done in the products. These implications actually really affect the ability of these pharma giants, and we are afraid that a lot of R&D projects will be affected with these pressures in pricing. Maybe I took a little bit more time than the assigned. So, actually, I tried my best to cope with the assigned time. So thank you for listening, and I hope to hear your contributions and questions at the time assigned by the moderator. Thank you all, and glad to have you with me in this evening, and thank you for the organizers as well.
Thank you, Dr. for your presentation. It was really clear and interesting. I remind our participants that they can always submit their questions in the comment section on both the Facebook Live or the Zoom chat box, and Mr. Nazal will make sure to answer them during the Q&A section. Now moving on to our second session with our Algerian speaker, Dr. Rodwan Souelmi, who is actually Head of Market Access and Government Affairs for Northwest Africa in Boehringer Ingelheim. Welcome among us, Doctor.
شكرا دعاء. السلام عليكم everyone. بالجزائر وبالأردن الأخوات والأخوات طلبة الصيدلة، شكرا على الدعوة لي من ASEPA Algeria. So it's really great pleasure to be with you and to share some let's say, basics about market access with colleagues from the 2 different continents, from Middle East and from Algeria. Just quickly, I mean, before starting, because when I was approached by Shakib, ASEPA president, so it's remind me all the very good memories in my life when I was a student. I was involved in ASEPA and then IPSF, and I had the opportunity also to meet some colleagues in the Middle East and different conferences, Eastern Mediterranean Symposia and the IPSF World Congress. And then if you can see, I wanted to share some pictures from the different congresses, and also some great friends and colleagues from Jordan at the left picture. So yeah, it's really a great pleasure to be with you today and enjoy your what you are doing in your or within your organizations. You will learn a lot of things, and it's really good start for your career to learn how to manage projects, develop your network, because when we talk about market access, I think Dr. Nazar were talking about that. There is a couple of complex pieces that you need in market access, but one of the most important also challenge in market access is the having the right people with the right skills. And I think with your commitment and motivation at what you are doing as a student, this is something key for your future career. So to start my presentation, I would like to make it very simple. I think Dr. Nazar went through a lot of details. I know that you are students, and for me, I would like to have mainly 2 objectives for this presentation: that you learn what is market access and what is health technology assessment. You will see later on what does it mean, because those 2 let's say definitions are really connected and related one to another one. I would like to make it, I know it's at the end of the day that everybody is maybe tired, so I wanted to make it a little bit interactive. It's not easy online to make it interactive, but at least you are not participating, but I will try to stimulate your brains, and I will start to ask some questions, and I will give you 2-3 seconds to think about it, and then we'll continue like that. So the first question: what is market access? Even if Dr. Nazar presented already, but I'll just give you 2-3 seconds to think about it, because when we talk, from time to time, I receive some interns. So there is a really misunderstanding of market access. We think it's marketing. So it's very important to just like park a second and think about what's market access. And then I will share with you the pathway. This is you are not in the stadium. This is the pathway for pharmaceutical industry to bring a product on the market. So I will start with this slide just for you to understand what is exactly market access, what is the position in the market access in the let's say the medicine life, or in terms of a process starting from, let's say, R&D, registration, pricing, reimbursement, and the marketing of the product. So we call that in market access the hurdles. So when you bring your product for registration, you have 3 holders who are the first one is the quality testing, the efficacy, and the third one is the safety of the product. So when you submit your product for registration, the healthcare authorities, which is the FDA in Jordan, in Algeria is now the l'ANPP, l'Agence Nationale des Produits Pharmaceutiques, So when you send your product, they assess those three pillars: quality, security, safety, and the efficacy of product. So when you demonstrate that your product is safe and the quality is responding to the standards, and also the efficacy, you bring the benefit in terms of efficacy, then you get the registration. So you have your marketing authorization. So I said the examples of the authority in Jordan and Algeria. In Europe, it's called EMEA, the European Medicines Agency, and the United States, for example, is FDA. In France, it's l'ANSM. So yeah, and now when you are done with the registration in the of your product, before, when you register your product, you get directly access to the market. And you can launch your product and market your product. But a couple of years ago, and we'll see later on why, the health authorities put at other hurdles, barrier, let's say, in order to make sure that the product that they are reimbursing or they are enlisting corresponding in some of criteria. So they put it other hurdles, and Dr. Nazar were talking about it. I will not go through the details of the technical aspects. Maybe it can be a little bit complicated for you, but the most important thing that you understand that the other hurdles is mainly economic discussion. So keep in mind, before registration, we discuss about the clinical value. This is what we call clinical value. And for the next steps, after registration, we talk about the economic value and also the effectiveness of real-world evidence. Just, it's not the important. The most important to understand here that after these three hurdles, economic value and the effectiveness discussion with the payers, you will get the access to the market. So the definition of market access is claiming access to the market is the market access is to get access to the market. What does it mean? Is access to reimbursement, because reimbursement is becoming very challenging in a lot of countries. So when you get the reimbursement, then we say we have the market, we have the access to the market, which is, and the definition of market access came from let's say from this historical steps. So registration with the regulator body, FDA, EMEA, ANPP in Algeria, Jordan FDA in Jordan, and then the other discussion regarding the economic value, or it can be the effectiveness also discussion depending on the countries and the authorities. Those authorities, we call them health technology assessment. And this is why I said market access and health technology assessment in the beginning are very connected authorities. So the market access department is from the side of the pharmaceutical company, and the health technology assessment is from the other side of the authorities. So the equivalent of FDA, EMEA, IMPP, and the Jordan FDA is the health technology assessment. And the question is, do we have health technology assessment in Algeria and Jordan? No, we don't have it. But if you take the examples of in Europe, for example, in United Kingdom, you have NICE. We see later on quickly the definition of those authorities. So we have NICE, we have HIS in France, which is the La Haute Autorité de Santé, and the only Arabic country who has health technology assessment is in Tunisia. It's called INIA Santé. So this is market access is coming to discuss mainly reimbursement, and in some countries also depending on the configuration, but we are handling the pricing and the reimbursement. And I hope that it's really clear for you what is market access. Market access is not marketing, it's not registration of the product. Market access is mainly focusing on the pricing and the reimbursement depending on the criteria requested by the health authorities. All right, and then I will try now to develop a little bit how we came to the market access, why health authorities put it in place, this kind of, let's say, framework, and they developed these authorities, they have technology assessment. So we say. So next question is, what is the healthcare expenditure percentage of GDP in Algeria and Jordan? Because you as a pharmacist, you are studying, pharmacy students, you are studying, but you know, we have the the basics and some classic courses in clinical pharmacy, pharmacology, and so on. But we are not really familiar about the healthcare expenditure. So we forget from time to time that this is something very important for the health authorities, and also as a pharmacist to know these kind of details. So the healthcare expenditure is changing from a country to another one. So you can see, for example, in the USA, it's around 17.7% from the GDP. And if you take, for example, Norway, it's 9.9. UK is 9.4, and in Algeria is 5.2. This is they're in 2012. But if you took the in Algeria, for example, they spend a lot of money on the healthcare system, and now it's around 7.2 the healthcare expenditure in GDP. And if we compare like 3 years, so you see that you can, in this figure, you will see that the healthcare expenditure is growing from year to year. There is a growth of the healthcare expenditure, and the healthcare authorities, for them, that's an issue, because they need to find the money in order to first afford the high cost of new medications, and also to treat their population. So, and then here you can see I have 2 examples from France and the United States. So if you can divide the breakdown of the healthcare expenditure, so you have the hospitalization, you have the drugs, you have the spending in the primary care. So if you see what is in yellow, it's the expenditure in medication, and it's representing almost 25%. And if you take the hospitalization, for example, it's costing almost 46% of the total healthcare expenditure. And if you take, for example, the USA, it's quite similar. You can see that the drugs is around 17%, and at the hospital level, it's around 47%. So this is the biggest issue that I wanted that you understand, that the healthcare expenditure is growing from year on year, which is a big challenge for the health authorities in order to find the budget to finance all the healthcare expenditure. And as a pharmaceutical industry, you focus mainly on the medication, but it's really connected, the medication, to the healthcare expenditure, and you will see later on why everything is connected, from drugs, primary care, and hospitalization as well. So you see, and the other challenge, that the market size of pharma of drugs, if we call it like that, is growing also from year to year, and again, which is challenging for the health authorities. So it's in French, because I wanted to make, maybe as ASEPA, now that pharmacy students in Algeria are studying in French, and I will try to explain it also in English. So this slide is saying that if we are comparing or putting in the same box money and the health, so if we talk from the ethical point of view, so every human being has the right to get access to treatment or to hospitalization, but you have to put your shoulders on the side, or as a decision makers, like you are payer, so you have a budget, and you have to buy a medication. And here I have one example saying that if you have a treatment which is adding 1 year in your life with the fully, in a healthy situation without any side effects. So you have two scenarios. You have one scenario, you have a generic, very easy to produce, where the cost is 1,000 dinars or local currency in Jordan. And then you have another product where the way it's protected, and it's biological, it's very complex, and the cost is 1 billion dinars. So the question is, would you buy the blue medication or the red medication? So you see, it's simple exercise. And here, when you see that there is 1 billion and 1,000, and the answer is easy. I will buy the 1,000 one. And in terms of the healthcare expenditure, that the authorities are saving a lot of pressure. Why there is a pressure on the healthcare authorities side? Because we have a population, elder or population, like people are, in terms of demography, the number of population is growing. We have innovative medication who are coming in the market where the cost is very high, and every single patient would like to have access to the treatment. And in the other side, we have an economic context. We have the pharmaceutical political or the healthcare politic from the other side, and the prioritization of the government. So they have a limited budget, and they had to divide the budget from education to healthcare to culture, etc. So the pressure is coming from the population, and the other side, the pressure to reduce the healthcare expenditure. So between these two dilemmas, the healthcare authorities ask them a simple question: how we optimize the healthcare expenditure? And I'm asking you, if you were in the situation like one day you would be the Ministry of Health, of the head of reimbursement authority, or the agency who is taking care of medication. So what will be the best way for you in order to optimize the healthcare expenditure? So this is the reflection that they had a lot of countries, and maybe developing countries, starting by Europe, and they developed the health technology assessment authorities. And the main objective of the health technology assessment, the health technology authorities, is to optimize the healthcare expenditure. What does it mean? What kind of, as a health technology authority, what kind of criteria I will put in place in order to manage on my budget? I would like to put my one dinner at the right place for the right person, for the right treatment, and so on. So they started developing the health technology assessment, and the first country who put it in place, the health technology assessment, is UK, and then there is other countries, HIS in France. I think in terms of career, I can guarantee to you that you will have a really great career. But the most important thing is to get the right skills, and start with some experience. And the experience you can start it doing, for example, internship in the market access departments, and also with your mindset and spirit, with the mainly students who are involved in student organizations, continue being involved in not the student organization but the professional organizations. And for the market access, the equivalent of your IPSF and FIP for pharmacists, for health economists and market access, is eSport. It's the International Society of Pharmacoeconomics and Outcome Research. They have chapters for students, and you can connect with the students around the world with the different chapters that they have. And I really recommend to you to, for example, take the short courses that they are providing. There is online courses they are providing for free, and others you can pay for them, but it's very cheap for students. And also attend the conference, the ISPO conference. You have the European one. There is also the Middle East one for the Arab network, because they have the Arab network. So we can also get connected to ISPO Arab network, attend the conference, and it's the place for you, for the Jordanian and Algerian maybe. There is also ISPO chapter in Jordan. So there is a local one there. And then you can connect with people in pharma industry in Jordan, in for example, in the UAE, and in Algeria also. You would like to have experience in Tunisia, in Algeria, in Morocco. Be open-minded of not be limited to your market. Be open-minded to other markets. Get involved in those organizations. Ask for internship, and do the short courses that are providing. If you do that, this will be really a good start to integrate market access and grow up in the future.
Thank you so much for your precious information, and I guess I'll move on to the next question, also for you, Dr. Suelmi. Yasmin says, is the market access department useful as well for the generic laboratory?
I think this question could be answered by Dr. Nazal. It's really for me, it's very different because the generics company, they are putting in place market access, but it's the philosophy of market access. It's for the innovative products, where the medication cost, the cost of medication is very high, and the authorities are having issues in order to afford those products. So the market access is coming in order to bring the evidence to the health authorities to demonstrate the value of the product based on some criteria. The generic is cost-effective product. You know, you have innovation, and when the generic is there, so with the less cost. So is it a challenge for the pricing and reimbursement? Not really. But market access is developed in generic companies, maybe with other philosophy based mainly on the government affairs model. But if we take in consideration the market access, how it is developed in the developing countries, you cannot find in generic company and market access. But with our local setup in terms of regulation in our countries, in Middle East and Africa, market access is doing both. Mainly government affairs activities, which I call it's government affairs. There is no relationship between government affairs. They are connected, but they're completely different. Government affairs and market access. But you will find the positions in generic company as a market access.
Okay, thank you so much for answering this question. I guess Mr. Nazal is among us, but he can't activate his camera. So, Mr. Nazal,
can I comment on this question as well, please?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. I agree with Swami in most of the points he raised about mastery. However, we have probably wider aspect, and we do internal communications with internal departments inside our company in launch preparation. Also, we, in many cases, we do launch products which originator didn't bring in the market. So yes, we are generic. However, originator didn't launch the product in our country or in our region, access activities, which usually originators do.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nazar, for answering this question. I'll move on to a third question. Sorry, I didn't hear you. It's going off a bit.
Okay. Connection, I don't know why.
Okay. So the next question is for both of the speakers. So it says that do you have to be a pharmacist to work as a market access manager in Jordan or Algeria, or a master degree can be enough? You can, both of you can answer the question if you want.
I can start if you want. Well, as a pharmacist, we would like to have pharmacists with us. And because, you know, when you have pharmacists, we know that they are people, well, I will not say smart, but they are not smarter than the rest. But yeah, they have something specific, and also as we don't have the really technical, for example, I don't know what is the case in Jordan, but we don't have masters in health economics in Algeria, so we don't have really post-graduation program on that. But definitely, if I am me in my position, if I hire someone, if I find someone, for example, a pharmacist and another pharmacist with a degree, trainings, or not only in masters, but if there is in the person with having a short courses in health economics, in health technology assessment, or masters in health economics, I would definitely take the other one. And if pharmacists comparing to others in terms of regulation, it's not dedicated to pharmacists. But if you see, for example, in the Algerian market, main people working in market access, they are having they are pharmacists with the background of pharmacists. But again, my advice to you, it's not limited to pharmacists, but you can make the difference if you don't make it complex. If you don't find, because you need to go maybe to another country to do health economics, there is online short courses. For example, Sheffield University in the UK, they provide really interesting courses in health technology assessment for free. eSport is providing also free courses. So when you start with those at least courses, it's something really will be make the difference when you would like to when you will have an interview for market access position.
So as you're saying, the pharmacist has more opportunities than any other graduate, any other degree. Thank you so much for answering this question also. I'm not so sure if Mr. Nazal is among us, so I can ask him a question about the Jordanian market access, or should I move on to the Algerian one? Are you among us, Mr. Nazal?
I'm cannot hear everything. Also, when I speak, you cannot hear everything.
Yeah, unfortunately.
This is the technical problem I'm having. So sorry. So.
Unfortunately, it's going off. I'm not so sure if I should wait. We'll wait 2 seconds, and I'm actually going to ask another Algerian question. So another participant actually said, would it be better to start with the regulatory affairs to do market access, or does a market access degree be sufficient?
Come again with the question?
Sorry, I said, would it be better to start with the regulatory affairs to do market access?
No.
Mm-hmm.
So remember the pathway that presented in the beginning, that they are really two activities completely different. But if you, based on our experience in our markets, of course, there is a lot of people coming from regulatory are moving to market access. Why? Because before market access, who was handling the pricing and reimbursement? That were regulatory affairs. But there is one very important point: the requirement that the payers are looking for today are very complex. Before, for example, for pricing, you just submit a price certificate. Reimbursement, you submit a request, like a letter, and you ask, you get your pricing, you get your reimbursement. Today, it's completely changing. We need other things that we need to develop in order to demonstrate our value to the payers. And for that, we need the right people with the right skills. So the right skills is what I'm saying, and I'm repeating it again. If you would like to have we would like to choose a market access career, start with organization, short courses, online courses, masters in health economics or health technology. I say it's health economics mainly, called. There is also again health technology assessment. It's really very important to have the knowledge of health technology assessment, and also start doing, when you are in the last year in your degree, I know that you need to do internship, so try to join pharmaceutical companies and do your internship. And I really encourage you to do some research, like posters that you can present to ISPOR. Use your network, for example, within IPSF, people that you know, you can work together on some activities. For example, in Erdinger, I'm receiving every year interns, and I'm giving them some stuff, some research project that we work together on, and we apply, for example, to do posters in ISPOR. And every year I'm taking with me students who are presenting their ISPORs, their posters in ISPOR. They are learning, they are gaining on terms of experience. I'm exposing them to at the international level, and believe me, it's really the right way to get some learning about market access and then joining, because we don't have the skills. We are really struggling to hire people with the right profile. We don't have it. So if I have, finally, back to a question, someone with a regulatory background, 5 years experience, and new graduate with internship, 6-month internship, or short courses in ISPOR, or health economics masters or degree, I will take the fresh graduate one with this background.
Actually, there is a participant who says that I didn't understand well the technology assessment.
The health technology assessment is the authority who is doing the assessment to accept or not the reimbursement of the product based on some criteria. And remember, when I did the differentiation between there is a registration body to get the marketing authorization. In Algeria is, as I said, AMPP. In Jordan is FDA. That's for registration, to register and get the marketing authorization. Developing countries, they developed another authority who is doing the assessment based on the economic value and also in the effectiveness. The comparing the clinical data and real world data and so on. But just the most important thing, you have to understand that health technology assessment is doing the assessment of the medication based on some criteria to decide the reimbursement, and sometimes there's authorities who have technology assessment to discuss the price. And I hope it's clear now.
Thank you so much for doing your clearance. Mr. Nazal, if you can't answer or activate your camera, you can always type your answers in the chat box, and I'll also make sure to read them out if you want. Mr. Nazal.
Actually, unfortunately, I cannot hear the questions. Also, you cannot hear me. No, I am having this technical problem. I'm so sorry. Also, the chat box is empty at my site, so I cannot.
If you want, I can type them for you to read them. I'm going to share.
Can you try?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to copy the next question. A participant says, is it stressful to work in the market access field since there is a pressure and everything needs to be in balance?
You will have pressure everywhere. Huh? So market access or other department, when you work in your community pharmacy, hospital pharmacy, there is a pressure everywhere. But for people who would like to, they have the enthusiasm to bring a product for patients, because this is, as a pharmacist, this is one of the main objective of the pharmacist as healthcare professional, is to bring medication to the patients wherever we are, in community pharmacy, hospital pharmacy, and district pharmacy. So working in market access is very challenging because we need to reimburse the product, get the right price with the health authorities, because they are facing many challenges from their side, budget issue, limited resources, financial limited resources that they have. And as market access, we are here to bring the right data and the clear arguments to them in order to take the right decision. So don't see it like that in terms of pressure or not. Pressure is everywhere, but if you feel passionate about it, if you love what you are doing, if you would like to fight to bring medication to patients, if you like, this is also something very good in market access. Like, you are bringing science to the payers. You are not doing marketing, selling. No, you need to bring the evidence to the payers. You need to, as a pharmacist, we are the scientist of the medication. So working in market access, you will continue working as a scientist, bringing the data, bringing the evidence, continue talking about people, because you need to discuss with the health authorities, with the payers, you need to talk with your colleagues internally, and all these pieces that you need, different skills, different approaches that you need in market access, is really excited to work for this department.
Thank you so much for answering. In case you want to add up anything, Mr. Nazal, you can always activate your mic, or I can read out your answers in the chat box, as I said.
Can I try now? Let me try, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, if I would comment on the market access work is stressful, I can simply answer every work in the department of the pharmaceutical company has a lot of stress by itself. For example, colleagues working in the sales department has a unique set of stress regarding achieving their targeted objectives. Colleagues in the marketing have their own stress, where formulating marketing plans which are successful and give value and meaning to both the customers and the team in the sales. Also, the regulatory colleagues have their own set of stress with the deficiencies and requirements, increasing requirements regulatory authorities always ask for more and more and more. Not to say about the colleagues in the production, and so I think I cannot claim that our stress is more or less. Every function in the pharma has its own between brackets sets of stress. So I can say honestly, no, there is no more stress versus other departments. However, yes, it has its unique set of stress working in balance, as the question mentioned. Also, if the sound is clear, let me comment on the question of market access in generic industry. In generics, okay, number one, we have expanded the responsibilities of market access to include the whole life cycle of the product, from being an idea until it is in the market. So I think this expand give us somehow different responsibilities versus our colleagues in the multinationals. Also, in many cases, we introduce products which are first to the market because the originator simply didn't launch them in the country or in the region. So in these cases, we have to do the market access activities, which should have been done by the originator if he launched it by themselves. And in other cases, also, we in-license products. So we do some kind of business agreement, originator license out their products to us in the region. So in these examples, we are the responsible for all activities, including the market access. So these are some of the examples why there is a market access activities in the generic companies. For example, we do have a market access in Al-Kindi, our generic company in Algeria. Also, we have a market access department here in Jordan responsible for a region which covers GCC and Iraq and Jordan. We have more than 13 products which are either first generic or first to market. And in both cases, we are doing the enlisting and activities with the governmental bodies where there is market access activities needed to enlist these products in the protocols, in the tender bidding list, etc. So these are some of reasons why there is a market access function in generic companies, because we don't work pure. It's some kind of hybrid plus in-licensing. So in the in-licensing model, we work on behalf of the originator, most of the activities of sales, marketing, and market access.
I'll take the opportunity to ask you another question, which was directed to you, Mr. Nazal. A participant also said, can you provide us more, can you prove us more about the concept and the cost efficiency that you talked about?
Okay. This is an example where, for example, we did a clinical trial with objectives to prove cost effectiveness with centers here in Jordan to prove that the product has positive cost effective trials. This was a biosimilar, for example. This was a biosimilar product. where we the first company introduced such a product in the market, and we had to prove it has a cost-effective balance. And we designed a clinical trial to prove such evidence to the authorities and reimbursement bodies. We did it, and we submitted the study to the authorities, and we got the approval and also the reimbursement based on it. So, for example, this is a live case where we have did such cost effectiveness activity or a study to prove a claim we did for a product that we have.
Okay, thank you so much for answering this question. Actually, the Q&A section time is up, so I'll share with you one last question addressed to both of the speakers, which says, is an Algerian pharmacy doctor degree valid in Jordan and vice versa? Is a Jordan degree valid also in Algeria?
Mm-hmm. Let me start, my colleague. Okay, actually, I'm not so sure about how to answer such a question. However, I believe it can be equalized in a way. So if an Algerian pharmacist came or a pharmacist with the Algerian degree in pharmacy came to Jordan, I think he need to do some kind of equalizing his certificate here in Jordan with against certain requirements. But this is not an official answer. It is an impression how things works with him here in Jordan to do this equalization.
How about the Algerian one, Dr. Suelvi?
It depends. If you would like to work for pharmaceutical industry, we need your skills. We don't need your degree. And but if you would like to open a community pharmacy, for example, or work for a public institution, then you need as Dr. Nazar said, you need to do the equivalence in the local university.
Yeah. So then with this question, we arrive at the end of the Q&A session. Thank you both for your explanations and clarifications. Personally, as a fifth-year pharmacy student, I've learned a lot from this session, and I can never be grateful enough. Asif, I would like to thank you for your exceptional speeches, and thank you all for your valuable information. If any of you wants to cover anything before we wrap up, please go ahead.
Okay, let me start, my colleague. It was great having you tonight. I really enjoyed talking to you, and also I feel encouraged to communicate to you such information which could make you ambitious to work either in market access or in any other specialty in the pharma industry. This means a lot actually for you, because I can remember when I have graduated, actually I was knowing nothing about any of the activities or functions in the industry. So just tried to skip and jump here and there to find what could I work, what skills should I have to work. at the end, I ended up as a medical rep, then started to climb the career path until I reached now as a market access. So I hope I could communicate to you some of the tasks, some of the skills, some of the duties working in a market access. Anyone works in market access should have, so that you can judge and think if you have potential of having such skills and to be trained upon, then go. It's a specialty with great horizons in the future, because everyone of the companies, either generic or originators, trying to create such function or activity in their company. And thank you all again.
From my side, thank you very much. Thanks to you, Dua, for the great moderation. And thanks for ASEPA Algeria, JPSA Jordan, for this great webinar and giving us the opportunity to share some insight from our sides. Maybe a recommendation for the all pharmacy students is don't worry about your future, but enjoy what you are doing and keep committed within your local organization and also at the international level. That's very important. This is how you build your career. Continue to be passionate, continue to be committed to the community, to make the difference at your level. And we gave you some tips if you would like to develop your careers. But in marketing, if you develop this solid basis, commitment, enthusiasm, motivation, that's the essence of the successful in the future. And then market access or other department, it doesn't matter. The most important thing that as a pharmacist you will contribute and the healthcare system, giving the right medicine, the right advice to the patients. And if you really would like to be in market access in the end, I think we gave you some tips. Work on it, and definitely you will have a great and successful career. So best of luck, Muafqin, and I hope that we catch up later with other seminars or projects together in the our organization or outside the organization.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suelmi, for your precious advices and informations. Thank you also to Mr. Nazal. I would like also to thank our participants for sticking with us till the end. We hope all of your questions have been answered. We put at your disposal a Google form to leave your feedbacks. Do not hesitate to fill it up so that we can improve our next webinars. And of course, we cannot end this webinar without thanking our collaborators, JPSA. As you can tell, it really has been a fruitful collaboration. Thank you for sticking with us no matter the circumstances. And I would like to give the Industrial Skills Event Coordinator the opportunity to speak and close the webinar. Off to you, Rimel.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can perfectly hear you, Rimel.
Thank you, Dua, for the amazing work you did moderating this webinar. First, I would like to thank our speakers for responding to our invitation and for hosting this webinar so well. Your presentations have been very rich and informative, so thank you again. Secondly, I would like to thank all the participants for taking the time to attend. A special thanks now to our team who worked very hard to organize this successful webinar. And last but not least, thank you to the JPSA team for accepting the collaboration and for working with us for the organization. It has been great working with you guys. I hope that you have all found it a fruitful event. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rimal. So guys, we've arrived to the end of the webinar. Thank you all for joining us. Stick with us more. Industrial Skills event is far from over. Have a great evening, everybody, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Best efforts, guys.
Goodbye.